What is up, guys? Friday night here. It is Good Friday. So today I actually didn't have any work. It was a holiday for my work. So I was able to take the day pretty easy. I did end up doing a 5-mile run, which after being sick all week, it's the first run since I've done since Saturday. It was a little bumpy. It was a little bumpy in the sense that my heart rate is not, I really just am probably not 100%. So my heart rate was running a little bit higher than usual. And it was kind of frustrating in that regard, basically a minute per mile slower than normal, which does happen. And ultimately, as I kept going through the run, I was trying to remember, where I'm at. I got a race in just about a week, so tapering down is going to be fine anyways. Unfortunately, I was thinking back to the race I had in November, and I'm pretty sure I was traveling then about 2 weeks ahead, and I got sick then too. And so the last couple times that I've traveled, I ended up getting sick, and the taper probably didn't go perfect, but I think everything's going to be fine. We just trend and play it a little bit slow and cautious and really just taper down. So I think I'm going to do another 5 miles on Sunday, and then 5 miles, or probably 4 miles Monday, 3 miles Wednesday, and then maybe just like a nice brisk walk on Friday. I'm also taking a look at incorporating some lift circuits, probably first thing in the morning of 20 to 30 minutes. That's gonna be able to reincorporate lifting into my training because I've taken a pretty significant break from lifting at all. Last year I did a ton of body weight. Probably about this time last year, I think I was doing a lot of bodybuilding type, hypertrophy type training, which was really just generating a great mind-muscle connection. And I was getting a lot out of those workouts. I then transitioned into, and this might've been 2 years ago, really, if I'm not keeping track perfect, because last year was the first year I also did the Murph workout, the Murph WOD on Memorial Day weekend, which is 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, and 300 air squats. And do that basically in a circuit style. And so I was doing a lot of body weight training in order to prepare for that. Ultimately, just something that I really like to reincorporate back in alongside the rock climbing and alongside the running, just this kind of well-rounded fitness. Ultimately, the sickness and loss of appetite over the last week or so, I'm still on a cut, probably not the best cut the past couple days, just no appetite. So really probably eating about once, maybe 1.5 times a day. Throughout the times of being sick or the days of being sick, I was really eating only once a day. But today was the first day I was able to cook in a little over a week. So kind of gonna get back into it probably a little bit slowly and try to build up an appetite, or really just build up the ability to eat again, little by little, probably bit by bit, like meal by meal. So some of those might be a little bit more forced than others, but we'll keep it trending in the right direction. I think we're gonna see about, if I take about 7 more pounds off, see where that looks like, see what that feels like. Everything being lighter is easier, like especially being so tall. I'm 6'4". My joints feel a lot better. Movement feels a lot better in general. Climbing, I think, went very well last night, as I said. So that's a pretty good training assessment, I would say, especially heading into Easter weekend here, in which I plan to enjoy myself as much as possible in the training regard, and maybe getting outside some because it's beautiful down here after being in Illinois, where it was lucky enough to snow, and I was lucky enough to get sick, and it was lucky enough to be 40-ish degrees. So back in the land of 70s, feeling pretty good about it. Additionally, one of the things I've been thinking about a lot today is intentional space. And what I mean by that is taking 10 to 15 minutes, at least once a day, to completely disconnect from everything. No music, no TV, no scrolling on anything, no searching for anything. Literally just sitting and having space for your thoughts and having space for your feelings. I think, especially feelings for me, is something that I don't allow much space for or room for most of the time. I could probably be very cold and robotic with an ability to clamp down on those, probably given some of the way life was when I was younger. So I really like to take, obviously talked about journaling before. I think that's incredibly helpful for pouring some of those ideas out of your head and working through them and coming to terms with the realities, some of the realities of those, the objective truths of our thoughts and feelings. But space is another factor that I really like to implement, or another practice that I like to implement, is taking that time to see and check in with myself in a weird way. I don't think it's something that I really do in the real time because I'm so focused on my routine and the things that I need to do that I work through those, and I'm working through that task list pretty much every day, and I'm checking off all these boxes every single day in the pursuit of my development. Now, it's very important to take time to check in with yourself and even just see how you're feeling. Are you feeling strong? Are you feeling stable? Or are you feeling weak? Are you feeling hurt? Do you have nagging little injuries? Or are you feeling tired constantly? So like, these are really good check-ins from a physical standpoint and a mental standpoint to understand where you are in your training and some of the tweaks that you might need to make. Not major changes, but maybe subtle tweaks that you might need. Maybe you need more rest. Maybe you need to adjust your nutrition. Maybe you need to take your intensity down for a week and do a deload week. And then additionally, on the flip side of things, from a mental health standpoint, just understanding and processing through any struggles that you might be going through, or reflecting on the amount that you've grown and the distance that you've made it from where you started, or from various checkpoints along your journey, right? I talked about that before as well. It's not only a comparison, almost in a sense of how far you have left to go, but also a comparison of how far you've come. And so these things are really important to take the time for every single day. Otherwise, you're just gonna ignore it and potentially be at risk in both regards, both physically and mentally. And I'd probably even wrap in kind of an emotional sense there. So try that out. I think it's very helpful for me. It's space that then allows me to generate all sorts of different ideas to think through, and all sorts of understandings of myself on issues that I might be having that might not be at the forefront of my mind. And maybe this is a me thing. I think that if it's a me thing, it's probably impacting more people than just me. Hopefully you're better off than I am, because I think sometimes I can be out of touch with myself. So if you are also like that, take some time to get in touch. It's a good practice from my point of view. I think it's very helpful. So check that out. Have a safe Friday.